let's get to Hurricane Milton. Is one of the very, very unique hurricanes in terms of its direction and in terms of how quickly it reached Category 5 over the course of 24 hours. It is shocking meteorologists, causing them to basically cry on television, on live TV. Like it's going to make impact sometime around, I guess, like 2-3 p.m. tomorrow, my time, or no, Florida time, potentially. I'm not entirely sure. It's going to make impact, though, and I assume that the tropical storm surrounding it is already bracing, is already slated to make landfall. Good morning. Here's your Hurricane Milton update. As of 1 p.m. CDT, Hurricane Milton is a Category 4 hurricane with wind speeds of 155 miles per hour and a minimum pressure of 923 millibars. This is a decrease from his peak last night at 180 miles per hour and 897 millibars. Wednesday night at like 8 p.m. EST. Okay. So yeah, the evacuation zones or the avoid zones is basically like a dick sleeve over Florida. Okay. It's just the path is going in from Tampa, coming out of Orlando. Normally, you don't have hurricanes that take this trajectory, this path. It's unique for a hurricane to actually take this path coming from like a eastbound hurricane that is coming from the southwest. It's usually coming from the opposite side. Apparently, since 1851, only 14 hurricanes have taken this path. What now, liberals, is what I say. Obviously, because these unimaginable, once-in-a-lifetime, world-changing, catastrophic natural disasters seemingly happen with incredible frequency, you either got to look at it and think to yourself, I wonder what the deal is here. Is it perhaps anthropogenic climate change, warming the fucking waters, making hurricanes more powerful, making it also making hurricanes more powerful in a shorter period of time, making it much harder to predict the trajectory and the impact, making it much more difficult to actually evacuate, especially when these biblical style fucking hurricanes are making landfall with incredible frequency. I wonder if it's anthropogenic climate change, something that scientists have had a consensus on for quite a while, or some other thing that they're hiding from us, like Jewish, Chinese, Mexican, undocumented space laser weather machines that are causing this to happen. It's probably the second thing, is what I believe. Yeah, it's government weather control. Today, Milton is expected to bring hurricane force winds and a life-threatening storm surge along portions of the northern coast of Yucatan Peninsula. I would like to specify that despite the fact that the Yucatan is not in the direct path of the storm, Milton is still likely to bring extreme levels of rainfall, and the northern coast is still under a hurricane or tropical storm warning. Video of Milton fighting off the Yucatan. Here it is. Last night in Cancun with that vigorous convection weather of Hurricane Milton. God damn, that lightning killed the guy. That's insane, dude. Benchmark for rapid intensification is 35 miles gained in 24 hours. Milton gained 95 miles in 24 hours. 95 miles! Milton went through an eyewall replacement cycle last night, which is part of why it weakened slightly. An eyewall replacement cycle is when a new eyewall begins to form on the outside of the previous one. This cuts off the energy the inner eyewall needs, causing it to collapse and the storm to weaken. Eventually, the outer eyewall completely replaces the inner one, and the storm may re-intensify. This is likely to happen with Milton. Reed Timmer is on his way down to Florida because he is literally insane. I assume he will be live streaming the storm. That's my goat. That's my goat, Reed. When you look at the videos of like people going in one direction and there's massive fucking gridlock traffic, okay, of people trying to leave Tampa, and then you see the one car on the other side in that directly going into Tampa, that's Reed. That's our boy Reed, okay? Friend of the show, Reed Timmer, PhD. It's him and a bunch of bucket boys, okay? Ready to go. Put those telephone and electricity poles back up immediately. And maybe some bucket bunnies too. Yeah, you got the linemen on their way, okay? You got maybe a couple bucket bunnies also driving alongside them. I would go so far as to say bucket bunnies, I think, are also essential workers alongside the linemen. People think it's just Reed Timmer and the linemen that are driving in the fucking pathway of the hurricane to go do some honest work, okay? But ain't nobody's talking about the bucket bunnies that are also going down there. Okay? They got to keep the morale up. Ain't nobody's talking about them. Do you understand? What the fuck is a bucket bunny? A bucket bunny is a woman that is sexually attracted to the linemen that come into the area. All right, let's get to the mainstream coverage of this matter.
From a second major landfalling hurricane on the Gulf Coast of Florida. I'm in downtown Tampa. This is the convention center. You can see that water. It looks 10 to 12 feet down that seawall. Well, in lesser storms, we have seen all of this flood. So that's why all the people that live here are preparing for the approach of what made it to one of the strongest hurricanes on record in the Atlantic Basin.
This morning, the race to get out before explosively powerful Hurricane Milton comes in. Milton, still more than 5.
See, look, you're wondering, okay? People leaving Tampa, bucket bunnies and the linemen going into Tampa alongside the storm chasers. Okay? A lot of people don't understand. A lot of people do not understand what's going on here. They're like, what? Why are people driving into Tampa? There's a lot of work to be had in Tampa.
Comes in. Milton, still more than 500 miles southwest of Tampa. Now a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 155 miles per hour.
This is the storm of the century.
Mass evacuations ordered, prompting bumper-to-bumper traffic on highways out of town.
I saw that video of I think it was like the sheriff's department or whatever, like with their car driving through these like quiet suburbs that have been emptied out, basically being like, leave this area. This is an evacuation zone. Shit is dystopian, dog. Oh, Jesus Christ. Time lapse flying by Hurricane Milton about 2 hours ago. Holy moly. Look at that. God damn, dude. They're doing phone alerts every 10 minutes. Prime time for some high crime. Oh my God, don't even start. Oh yeah, this is the aqua fence, which probably is not going to be enough to protect the Tampa General Hospital, by the way. I'm just letting you know. The aqua fence is actually really cool. It's really cool technology. It's wild. Like, it uses the weight of the water to basically keep it stable. I think some science shit. I've seen this before. The problem is they're talking about storm surge over 15 feet. And I don't know if this is 15 feet. I don't think this is 15 feet. It's about 3 feet too short for the predicted surge. Yeah.
As the strongest hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico in nearly 2 decades takes aim at the Sunshine State.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of cars.
Rianne Ramirez and her family of 4 driving 8 hours to leave Florida, double the time it would normally take.
It is bumper to bumper to the point where we were standstill, not moving for an hour at a time.
Hurricane hunters flying into the storm to collect critical data. Milton is expected to be knocked down by some wind shear before making landfall late Wednesday into early Thursday, but this storm surge could still be unprecedented.
I think there's something wild about people being like, oh man, I'm really afraid of the looting. That's why I can't leave my house. It's like, listen, Deborah, ain't nobody trying to break into your fucking trailer park. It's gone. Like this is one of those moments where it's like, dude, be real. Be for fucking real. I understand how hard it is. I understand how hard it is to specifically fucking, leave everything behind, especially if you got pets. Like, but if looting is your primary concern here, you're out of your goddamn mind, okay? What looting? That shit is all underwater at that point.
Tampa Bay to Sarasota to Venice could see 10 to 15 feet of ocean water pushing onto land, prompting one of the largest evacuations in years.
I'm going to go door to door myself and make the plea over the next 24 hours to get as many people as possible to leave.
There are definitely looters, but nowhere near enough to affect everyone to worry about it. Dude, what are you talking about? Looters? Like, guys, please understand something, okay? 15 feet storm surge. What looters, bro? If someone steals your fucking shit before it's underwater, then, at least someone's making good use of it. Like, what are you talking about? You know what's going to loot everything? The water, okay? The water is going to loot everything. Here's what it will also loot. Your fucking life. If you stay home and you're in the area of impact, you're worrying about the wrong looting at that point, okay?
But those staying put are prepping for the worst, frantically filling sandbags, boarding up homes, stocking up.
Like, this is such like American fantasy, right? If you think you're gonna go in and loot, you got another thing coming. It's like, what are you gonna do? Shoot people? Like, what is happening? Like, I don't think people understand the primary consideration at this moment should be placed on survival, okay? The goal for every single person in the area of impact should be to try and survive. Unless you got some fucking gills on you, all right? And webbed fingies that you can make ease of, like, you can just like swim around in that filth. You're cooked. Things got to be culture war shit, okay? Everything's got to be political, dude. Everything.
Another thing coming. You go into somebody's house after the storm passes, think that you're going to be able to commit crimes. You're going to get in really serious trouble. And quite frankly, you don't know what's behind that door in a Second Amendment state. So do not try to take advantage of people who are suffering because of the results of this storm. That goes for Helene continually, but then of course that will be the case for Milton. I know we've already brought a lot of people, held people accountable in post-Helene, and we will be very swift across all of.
If you try to steal my cryptocurrency, you got another thing coming for you.
Levels of government to throw the book at people, and of course, when you make these bad decisions, you're opening yourself up to response from property owners who may be inside that house.
Meanwhile, this is what's going on in Apollo Beach, Florida, baby. Look at this.
Significant storm surge and intense wind moving into the area as the storm impacts our community. The time to leave is now. This is the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Mandatory evacuations have been ordered for your area.
Please read out loud. As a firefighter paramedic who has lived through many hurricanes in the Houston area, another fucking area that literally is technically uninhabitable, but they decided to just fucking pour concrete over land that is supposed to soak up the water, and then decided this will be fine. And now it gets flooded regularly for no fucking reason. Not dissimilar to Florida, mind you. 9/11 will not come into if winds and flooding are high enough. There should be no one left in the area because not even the fire department will respond. We've left buildings burning during Hurricane Harvey because we just couldn't make it out. Please, if you're living in the pathway, leave. Just leave.
Please leave now. We anticipate significant.
Well, it's getting real.
Yeah. You got mayors. You got the mayor of Tampa being like, if you stay behind, you will die. I am going to make this very clear. Okay? If you stay behind, you will die. That's what she said on CNN. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are like, yo, if you start looting, like looting what, bro? The fucking hurricane's going to take care of the looters, even if you want to think about that. Like, if that is a consideration for you, guess what, dude? The looters are going to fucking die too. So you don't have to like fantasize about shooting them. Yeah, people are going to be looting. People are going to be looting the waterlogged PlayStation 5s from your suburban homes, dude.
Many shelves already empty.
I have a 1-year-old as of tomorrow, and my wife's expecting our second child, so we just want to take necessary precautions.
5,000 National Guard troops activated. Tropicana Field, where the Tampa Bay Rays play, turned into a staging area for relief workers. Helene left behind so much destruction less than 2 weeks ago.
It's just a little scary to protect your house because it's not just your house, it's all the houses have debris piled up as high as you can see.
Helene brought the Tampa area and its beaches record storm surge as high as 7 feet. This was Tampa General Hospital during Helene. It was protected by an aqua fence. The water nearly to the top of the fence in that 5 to 7 feet of surge. But that was
5 to 7 feet. This is going to be double that.
Half the storm surge that's expected from Milton.
Watching the storm meteorologically yesterday was just jaw-dropping. It put on 95 miles per hour in less than 24 hours. Only 2 other storms in history have done that. So
I want to say it's crazy because like everyone's a communist when a fucking hurricane happens. But Florida, honestly, yeah, everyone's a big government commie when a fucking massive hurricane like this happens. And you know, it's not a time to gloat. Like, I don't give a shit. It's not about politics. We got to save these people. We got to make sure that they get the fuck out, right? Having said that, however, Florida is unironically proving the point that it's like, nah, actually, they're still going on the same fucking trajectory. It's crazy.
Watching it just past the Yucatan now, we're still, again, hundreds of miles away from this thing, but it will close in and it's going to go quickly, especially if you are on the west coast of Florida. Let's talk about that cone. So right now, the center of it goes just south of the bay.
Dude, look at this. It's just straight ripping through fucking Florida. Look at this. Like, that's crazy.
Bradenton almost, but remember it can travel still because of the cone of uncertainty is what it's called, anywhere really from Crystal River down to Fort Myers. So we're closing in on exactly where it will make that path, and that's going to matter. But I can tell you the hurricane force gusts from Cedar Key to Orlando, where we could see power outages with 100+ mile-per-hour winds. Lakeland, watch out for those winds. And the storm surge again, Robin, from Fort Myers at 6 to 10 feet to here 10 to 15 feet. That's stacking 3 of me and pushing that water onshore.
Tampa chatter here. If the storm goes through south of Tampa, the storm surge would be minimal. If the storm goes north of Tampa, then 20-foot storm surge. We're talking about 10-mile shifts that will determine insane catastrophic destruction. Yes, I heard the number was potentially 2,000 casualties with like $5 billion of damage in the worst case scenario.
It will move homes. It will move cars. It is going to be catastrophic. Those words I can be very confident with, Robin.
Here is what the 15-foot storm surge looks like, okay?
Let's talk more about that surge that Jim was mentioning, because the National Hurricane Center is warning that destructive storm surge will occur along parts of Florida's west.
Let's look at what 15 feet of storm surge actually looks like. Okay, so maybe you'll understand if you're in the impact zone, if you're gonna get this shit, your TV's gone. Okay, it's done.
Coast tomorrow, and that's where we find our surge warnings. They stretch from the Everglades to Cedar Key, but also notice the potential for surge on the east coast of Florida, including Georgia and South Carolina too. You will see surge outside the cone, but the highest.
Disney Orlando is remaining open at this point. Unreal. I think there's a good reason for that, actually. For the record, from what I understand, Orlando is getting hit with Category 1 because obviously once it makes impact on land, the hurricane is no longer going to be as severe by the time it reaches Orlando. And the other reason why it's open is because it has hotels. Like, I think the Disney parks are closed, but the hotels remain open, specifically so that people can escape from like Tampa and Sarasota and potentially go in the direction of like the Orlando hotels inside of Disney World. So it's not, I immediately thought it was a bad thing as well, but I don't think it's like the worst. It seems not as bad as I also previously thought. because a lot of people, they close the parks. Obviously, they're not like get on a fucking roller coaster in the middle of a Category 1 hurricane, but it's more so about like being able to utilize these massive hotels. Like there will be power outages, but it's probably much better to just still be in a hotel rather than being in the fucking impact zone and dying on your roof because you wanted to defend your fucking Samsung OLED television. Oh my God.
Is expected in Tampa and Sarasota. But look at that, Naples, we could get 4 to 7 feet there. Let's focus in on the Tampa Bay area where we could see a record-setting surge over 9 feet. And I can use this simulation to show you what it will actually look like in Tampa.
Don't do the weather machine.
At 3 feet above normally dry ground, water is already life-threatening. It's too late to evacuate. Water this high can knock you off your feet, make cars float, and driving impossible. The first floor of homes and businesses are flooded. Unfortunately, the water is expected to rise even higher at 6 feet above the height of most people. Vehicles get carried away, structures start to fail. Just look at this. Anything could be in this water, sharp glass, debris, chemicals as well. The scary part is some areas could see surge values at 10 to 15 feet. And this takes us up to 9. And look what it does. At this level, the first floors of structures are completely flooded, and there are few places that it is safe when the water rises this high.
Please understand, if you're in the impact zone predicted to have up to 15 feet of storm surge, you're done. It's over. No one will save you. You will die. Okay? You will fucking die on top of your roof or in your attic. Like, you are going to die. I do not know how to explain this. Okay, I do not know if it will actually have 15 feet of storm surge, but obviously I'm going to trust the knowledgeable people on this matter because I can barely say meteorologist to begin with. Okay, I'm having a hard time saying the word. So I'm going to probably, I'm going to listen to them when they give these warnings. Okay. Kind of a similar situation to COVID, which is why it's blowing my mind that Republicans are now doing the same thing that they did with COVID, but now with something that is like directly visible. They've taken their anti-science perspective and now are applying it to this situation, and it's very frustrating. It is very, very bad. This is very bad. We are getting dumber and dumber. Obviously, it makes sense that Trump is leading Kamala Harris by 30 points with non-college educated men in particular. 30 points. Just remember, 30 points. Pretty crazy stuff. What now, liberal? You're silly libtard. This is above 9 feet, but this CGI, this not real.
We want everyone to know their evacuation zone, listen to local officials, and evacuate when ordered to do so. And Jordan, you made a great point last time.
At least my jet ski survived.
This is not just a calm water. You're going to have waves, even whitecaps on the surge inland.
It's going to be nasty. You could, trying to think that you could walk in it. Please do not think that, all right? This thing will carry you away, especially when we've got the forecast that could go up to 15
feet. Yeah, they can't control the weather. I live in Florida and I'm not evacuating because I just installed a 16-foot lift kit on my F-350. Do you think that's a good idea?